Have you built your brand? Today we're talking about building your brand. The Build Your Brand Live conference that went on in Atlanta, Georgia this past weekend at the Omni Hotel in Atlanta, and it was amazing. I can't wait to tell you all about it. Today's show is sponsored by the Soulutionist Portal Group Coaching, where you'll close the gap between your desires and your reality. For entrepreneurs ready to take their business to the next level, it's only $97 a month, so join me there. Hi, I'm Brenda the Soulutionist, and I'm here talking all things branding because the Build Your Live, Build Your Live, Build Your Brand Live conference was off the chain, y'all. Chris and Jen did it again. Super Connector Media does not be playing. When they tell you to show up for a conference, they really mean show up because they absolutely do show up and do their best. Today, I'm excited that I offered the opportunity for anybody who was at the Build Your Brand to pop in. They may pop in, they may not. But as always, I am very fortunate that I have women in my circle that will always show up. And today, my whole show guest, or as long as she chooses to be here today, is none other than publisher and fellow podcaster Teresa Velarde. Teresa, how are you today?
Hey, Brenda, I'm doing good. Good to see you again.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here to rep your brand. And today we're going to be talking about building your brand, the entrepreneur's secret weapon in a crowded marketplace. Shh, don't tell nobody. But the truth is, we want to tell somebody because we want to tell them what our brand stands for. Mm-hmm. Teresa, I think it is a shame that a lot of new entrepreneurs and even some that's been in a long time do not understand the value of branding. What was it like for you when you first started out? Did you really understand branding and the importance of it?
I didn't understand it. I was just flying by the seat of my pants, hoping that it was going to make it. And I'm very fortunate in that the work that I do has a lot of people looking. They come as referrals to me. Mm-hmm. People are always looking to get their story told in books, and I have ways to make that happen. But people know that when they come to me, their voice is going to be heard in whatever it is that they put out in the world. And I think that that's one of the things that makes me a little bit different than everybody else. I make sure that I have that the people who come to me are seen and heard as they authentically are. It took a while for me to come to that place, though, because like anybody starting a business, you do what you can, the best you can at any given moment, and you just hope that it flies. That's how I started out, hoping that it flew, and it did. But I also had to be strategic in what I was doing in order to be able to build it. So.
Well, we're going to talk about why brand building matters for entrepreneurs. And I have three things that I want us to guide this talk: increase brand recognition, building trust with customers, and establishing credibility in the marketplace. Let's talk about increased brand recognition. I want you to imagine walking into a crowded room with confidence and how it's more likely that you're going to stand out, because most people don't understand our brands are just simply our personas for our businesses. You got to think the logo, color schemes, your the things that make you stand out from the crowd. Mm-hmm. How do people recognize? Like if I say Nike, what is it? Most people, the swoosh. If I say McDonald's, you think the golden arches. If I was to say Wendy's, I don't even remember. I'm aging myself here. I'm thinking, where's the beef? Whatever it is. But there's something about each of those brands that I just mentioned that makes them stand out from the crowd. I do not go to McDonald's expecting to get ribs. Okay, it's just not, because that's not what their branding suggests that they should be on. And so when I think about brand recognition, what brands stick out in your mind that are easily recognizable for you?
Let's see. Well, actually, to go with Wendy's, it's the girl with the yellow braids, right? That's Wendy herself. The AT&T emblem is the world with the blue and white, right? Mm-hmm. Verizon has their own. Any of the cell phone, any of the cell phone companies, they have their own very recognizable brand. Um, any of the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, now X,
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn has it, all of those platforms are recognizable by their brand, their logo. Um,
And you know what's interesting about that is they all have their strengths because, when we are first building our businesses, everybody wants to be everywhere all at once, but you have to decide which one. If you're not really into doing a lot of videos, TikTok may not be the right place for you to be because if you're
mhm,
just poking up plasters, they're like, nobody's looking at that. They want to see some silliness and have some fun.
mm,
Whereas if you're all about plackets, you may do better with that on Facebook
right.
or even Instagram for the carousel. So you're having to know what each brand stands for and what it's going to do for your brand as you're
Mhm,
building it. Now, when
yes.
we talk about the other part about building trust with your customers,
Mhm,
you have to have a brand that actually allows for people to trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. I recently purchased something, Teresa, and I'm still waiting on it.
mhm,
I think it's real important to know that if you purchase something and you have a system that says you're going to get it in 1 or 2 days, and a month later I still don't have it, I'm probably never going to buy from that company again. You
agreed.
know,
Mhm,
so having your services to actually line up what you say your mission is for your vision, if it's fast delivery
mhm,
or if it's an overnight service or whatever it is, really need to make that happen. And that
yeah,
takes us right into the third one, which is establishing credibility in the marketplace. Having a well defined brand
right,
with a clear purpose and a clear expertise will help you establish credibility.
exactly.
And that brings me into both of us having the publishing companies because when businesses are starting out, a lot of them are still trying to figure out how do I establish myself in the industry, and publishing a book or writing blogs, articles, posting, and letting people know what you are good at is one way to do that. What are your thoughts?
So, first of all, to touch on all three of these, number one, especially in the social media arena, not every social media platform, as you alluded to, is for everyone. So, you have to find out where your audience is, number one. Number two, if you say you're going to publish a book within a certain time frame, no matter how go whatever you have to do, stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning, or
Mhm.
whatever you have to do in order to be able to make that happen needs to be done because it lends itself to your credibility, so and having like the two of us, we are both in the publishing industry, as you just said, and one of the things that we pride ourselves on is we have teams of people who help us get the job done, and in order for
Absolutely.
them to get their work, we have to keep this schedule in order to be able to meet the deadlines. And that adds to the credibility of each one of us in terms of what we do in the publishing industry. So it's important that you say what you're going to do, figure out the plan, map it out. Everybody knows they're on board. And then you follow through with whatever it is that happens along the way to make sure that you meet the deadlines and you produce a quality product. Waiting for something that was supposed to be a 2-day delivery for a month later, totally unacceptable. Totally
Unacceptable.
unacceptable. Yeah.
Unacceptable. And
Mhm.
as both of us are podcasters, there's something about that as well when you're talking about these things: increased brand recognition, building trust with customers, and establishing credibility in the marketplace. Because here's the thing: your show, conversations that make a difference. If people were to tune into that, and you're talking about something that didn't make a difference, they're probably not going to tune back in again.
Right.
But I know you have conversations with all types of people and they're really impactful. How hard has it been for you to make sure that you stay on theme when you're doing your podcast?
Yeah, it's really important because the one thing that when you, and you know this from being a podcaster, you want to make sure that you honor the guest and get their message is the priority, not
Mhm.
me as the host. the message that they're giving is the priority. So I need to be able to have a conversation, a genuine, authentic conversation from the heart with that person in order to be able to really showcase who they are, what they do, how they be, whatever it might be that we're talking about. This last one, we talked about people who had made it long past their life deadline through the power of love and the power of doing what they love and desire to do in the world to make a difference. And it was very impactful. I got some phone calls, and it was just really good. So my podcast, I have a lot of different topics that I cover, and it seems to me like if I open the door to one topic, it's like God says, I like the way you're talking about this here. Have something else. Take it to the next level. Do you experience that yourself with your show?
Yes, I do, because oftentimes for me, I'm focusing on the business of doing business. But since I take a mind, body, and soul approach, we can talk about relationships, we can talk about finances, but there's always going to be a business component to it. I think it's real important for people that watch my podcast to understand that I am asking people to understand that you do not have to sacrifice your personal and family life to have a viable, thriving business.
Right.
That's why I take a mind, body, and soul approach. So sometimes my topic is just not about spreadsheets or customer relations. Sometimes it's about the relationship that matters most, keeping family first. We have talks about that, and I talk about it with entrepreneurs so that they can explain how they handle keeping family first and still being able to manage their businesses. So staying within that realm, the people that watch my channel know that we will cross what other people may say are lines, but it's important that we have the conversations that are truly helping us live our best life.
I agree. And, there's a statement that says how you do anything is how you do everything. So that line that people worry about blurring all the time, you have to straddle it sometimes. You have to be in both your personal life and your business life in order to be able to show up as the authentic person that you are. And people do business with those they know, like, and trust. And if you're hiding behind some sort of mask, honey, it ain't going to last very long.
Not long at all. And that's why today I really wanted to talk about how conferences like Build Your Brand Live AI empower entrepreneurs. Teresa, it's been a long time coming for me to start going outside of my home and attending conferences and stuff. But Chris Winfield and Jen Gottlieb have been the people that have been instrumental in me getting out of my house and helping me show up. And I've been excited for that. And these are the three things that are going to guide our conversation around that. For the conference, we're talking about renowned speakers with diverse topics, the prime networking opportunities that conference provided. And they also provided practical strategies and frameworks that you can implement right away. I think that is so important when you are trying to choose a conference to go to that's going to help your business. And since branding is an ongoing process, this was a perfect place for me to be this past weekend so that I can take a hard look at the things that I've been doing. So let's start with the renowned speakers. And I want to show you some of the pictures I took during the conference. During the conference, I took pictures. I posted on social media. There was Amy Lacey there, Jamie Lynn Kern, Trent Shelton. There was Jason Phillips. There was so many. Coach Stormy Wellington was there. There was Ben was there. Just so many people, and also the sponsors. Everbowl was there. High Level was there. Go High Level, and also there was Train You All. So I will be getting to them soon. But taking these pictures and stuff was just a reminder of me of the many things that were available. They had so many speakers and the topics were very diverse, which allowed me to really take a look at how other people are handling their businesses, other people's business philosophies, and also to glean from their wisdom on how they were running and managing their business. And
Mhm.
every single one of those speakers gave us actionable items that we could take away from
Mhm.
there. What has been your experience when you've gone to conferences in the past?
Very similar. And, the thing is that the people who are coming to the conference are looking for something. They're looking for ways to either start a business, build a business
Mhm.
that they already have, switch gears into something else, or, any of those things can be the reason and the motivation for someone to go to a conference. And I've been to so many. I've spoken at several.
Mhm.
And if you when you show up at a conference like you did, Brenda, I saw the video and I
Mhm.
am like, you are on fire, sister. On fire. And, and that's the kind of presentation that gets the audience excited and gets the people like, oh, I wanna go hang out with her. I want to work with her, because who you are on stage is who you're going to be in your coaching arena, or whatever it is that you're putting together.
Mhm.
So I think that one of the things, I mean, you talked about show up. The As far as the biggest thing that I think, when you use that acronym, is regardless of what those letters stand for, you have to be who you are created to be and bring yourself to the table for all the other people to share in the meal that you're serving, if that makes sense. Yes.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
What the next thing I talked about of those three things we were guiding our conversation on was about the networking. Here's a picture of some of the many people that I got to meet. Now these are only 20, so I met hundreds of people, but
Yeah.
these are some of the ones that I could pull up right away. And I was so excited because I was making the connections. I got to interview Montel Jordan. I was just blown away. I
I
got to
met
take
Montel. Isn't he a hoot? I love him.
Yes, yes, and I got to take a picture with Jen and Chris and hold the book Be Seen that she featured me in chapter 4. Down here at the very bottom in the middle here, there is Tess. Tess won the Speaking with the Stars competition that they held at the event. And there's a picture down here with two little doggies and one of the participants at a conference. It was pet friendly. It was just really a good opportunity to meet a lot of people,
Mhm.
a lot of diverse characters, and I just had an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. How important has networking been for you when you've attended conferences?
Super important, because your people are going to be, if whatever the vibe, if you will, of a conference
Mm-hmm.
is. I only attend conferences where I feel like I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to be able to learn something. I'm going to be able to meet people who are interested in my business or who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe the opportunities to get on a show like this, to have create your own podcast, create whatever business that you are looking to create. It's all there. It's all there for you, but you have to take it. You have to be the one to open your mouth and say, hey, how you doing? I heard you talk
Mm-hmm.
about whatever. That's what networking is about. It's not about just exchanging business cards anymore. It's not. It's about getting to know the person who you could potentially help with your business, or you could potentially bring into your business as someone of to that you can create value for. And that's the whole thing about networking, as far as I'm concerned. And I think it's a lot of people are in one thing that we can, I'm sure, agree upon. We agree on a lot of things, but I can tell you that we can agree upon this. People are desiring to be in groups of people again. We were
Mm-hmm.
separated from one another during the pandemic, and now everybody is like, the people, the people interaction, the having a conversation across
Yes.
the table, having a cup of coffee, being in a group of people of like, a group of like-minded people. the world is looking for that today, and because it's now available, take advantage of it. Go be with your peeps, figure out what it is that you're going to do together with them or do next on your own, and help that person up. The other thing is, like, handouts are one thing, hands up are something else. There's two different meanings.
And Teresa, what I loved, a lot of the people I had been seeing on Zoom for over a year, but the opportunity to meet them in person, I felt like I was coming in with family and lots of old friends, and I've stayed connected. But there was a definite difference, a definite energy when I got to meet them in person and get to look at them eye to eye for the first time and make those real connections. And the reality is that has been missing. A lot of people are still afraid to go into groups, but slowly but surely, we're starting to get back into gathering. And there's nothing like the energy that happens when you're in a room full of like-minded individuals that are all committed to each other's success.
Amen.
The other thing I talked about was the practical strategies. Here was one of the things on this slide. I show pictures of Trainual. That's like having a trainer in your pocket. I posted about it online. I was so excited to meet the one of the founders of that group. Their high level was there. Down here in the lower right-hand corner, that's them giving away an amazing pair of headphones to one of the people that won. I met Trinity and so many other people out there that are doing some amazing things at this conference, and people were just showing up. I did a lot of ambush interviews, a lot of collaborations, and I received a lot of practical things that we're going to talk about here pretty soon that I could actually do once I returned home. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that happens when people go to conferences, they're not turning their knowledge into action. How many times have you attended a conference or taken an online course and failed to take action? Do you have an example of one of those for you?
Yeah. If any of you have ever suffered from what I call shiny object syndrome, and you buy the whole store, and then a lot of the stuff sits on the shelf, and then you're like, well, I'll focus on this. Oh, this doesn't have what I need. Maybe I'll focus on that. Maybe I'll go to another conference. Maybe it's when in the meantime, you probably have what you need, but you just don't follow through on it. And that's where a lot of entrepreneurs make that mistake. Like, if you're spending your money on a program with somebody who can teach you what you need to know, follow through. If there are people who need your service and you've got their information, you've had a conversation with them, it's just a matter of making the connection outside of that room. Do it, because it's not going to get done. If you don't do it, somebody else won't, nobody else will. So you could miss the opportunity to have a very really good working relationship with people who you don't call, so if you don't call them, you're not going to get that. And I'm all about relationships and, heart to heart, soul to soul, but the whole thing, the whole package. So yeah, you're missing a lot in the follow through if you don't follow through.
Absolutely. Here are some actionable takeaways that I wanted to share that I got from the conference, because one of the main things that I really want people to understand that is important, building your brand strength. And these are some of the things you can do. So let's start with the first one, Teresa. We're going to stop each one out, put them on separate slides so we can talk about them individually. Okay. Number one, identify your brand essence. And what do I mean by that? What makes your company unique? What makes you stand out? What is your core values and the mission of your company? Because I feel like defining what your brand provides and is the foundation for all your marketing efforts. Because if you're not clear on what your mission, your vision, and your goals is for your company, it's like throwing spaghetti on the wall. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs do that. And I was one of them. I was out here doing the most, getting the least, because my message was all over the place. I could not articulate what made me different from all the other life coaches out there until I became clear that I am the Soulutionist. I find solutions that are soul-centered for businesses so they can close the gap between their desires and their reality. And I don't apologize for that anymore. I have a good sense of when people are telling me something and it's BS. You know,
Oh,
it's just wrong. And when I'm able to have a conversation with somebody, I can usually help them discover what their true value is. I have actually turned away people when I realized they weren't clear on their value and asked them to go back and figure that out so that I could truly help them. Because if you
mhm.
don't know what you want and what your business stands for, how will anybody else?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you said it. Mission and vision statements are really important, and what you provide for the customer is the third piece, that they have to all be in alignment with one another, and in order, and you have to stand in that space of clarity and authenticity in order to be able to build a brand that people are going to come to. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, okay, Teresa, you have some work to do.
But here's the thing, we all have some work to do. We're going to talk about that a little bit at the end. Here's the next thing, Teresa. Develop a compelling brand story. What
Mhm,
is your brand story? Why are you doing what you do? Why you? Why now? And why should people purchase your product or service? You need to know that. You
mhm,
know, you so many people have not gotten clear on their origin story, their hero's journey, or any of the things that is significant for why they started their business. When I started my publishing company, Teresa, it was because I was fed up with hearing my friends say they spent $20,000 or $30,000 to self-publish a book on Amazon, and they did not even get any money back because nobody marketed their book. They didn't understand how to become a bestseller or anything. And I knew, I'm not knocking anybody else's hustle, but I'm like, if you're going to charge somebody that, at least give them what they paid for.
yeah.
I have one of the people that I know, she paid $20,000. They did not even edit her book. They did no marketing. And it's been 14 years, and that book is still a bane of her existence because it's out there. People can still purchase it. And when they hear about it, they go out and purchase that. She has new books. She's done some new things, but that book is still out there and she can't shut it off. That's a bad feeling.
That is a bad feeling. However, there is a solution, Brenda. As
Yes,
you
it
know, there
is.
is a
You and
solution
I
to
are
that
part of this
problem.
solution.
What and it's sad that people take people's that businesses and people who run businesses take people's money and they don't follow through and give them a valuable product in the end. I think that someone like you're describing, some you or I would say to that person, okay, let's see the manuscript. How
Mhm.
can we level this up? How can we get your message out there the way that it was meant to get out there?
Mhm.
And oh, by the way, it's not going to cost you 20 grand,
No, it's not.
yeah.
But
So
I would say this, when I was figuring out how could I price it and do it, I do have packages that start at 5,000 and go up to 20 grand. But when
yeah.
you're getting that level, you're getting marketing, you're getting ghostwriters. We can write it because we have done for you services, we have
Mhm,
done with you services, and we
mhm,
have the DIY where you do it yourself. So it
mhm,
depends on what you want, how much it's going to cost you. But here's what's unique about my company. This is part of my brand story and my brand essence. If someone works for me and my publishing company, Teresa, I show them how to make every penny they invested in with me back on their book. I tell them exactly how many books they have to sell. I
mhm.
give them a roadmap for how they can do it. So I feel very confident that the people that have worked with me can make their money back and then profit after that.
Yeah.
But most companies are just taking your money, they're running, and they're not going. So I do say, if you want to publish a book, self-publish or other, please do your research. And if
Mhm.
you need information, you can always book a strategy call with me, and we can make sure you get the information you need so that you can have a, what do you call, pleasant publishing experience,
Yes, exactly.
because that's what we want for everybody. And I want to point out here that Teresa is a specialist in children's books. She has illustrators, writers, she has a whole team. That is what she does. If you want a business book, then that's my specialty. And the best part about it is that both of us send clients to each other
Mhm,
based on what they need, because we realize that we stay in our lane. I'm not trying to produce an illustrated children's book.
mhm.
Too much work. Not gonna do it. But I know that about me. So why wouldn't I not send them
Mhm,
to the best of the best and make sure?
mhm.
Speaking of which, how do people find your publishing company, Teresa?
AuthenticEndeavorsPublishing.com.
Make it easy. It's right there on the screen. You see next to her name,
Mhm.
AuthenticEndeavorsPublishing.com. And if you want stuff for mine, it's BrendaTheSolutionist.com. It's all in there under programs. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to talk about, maintaining brand consistency. That is so important that you visually line up across the board. My colors are pink and gold and white and black and 2 shades of pink. And so when I do stuff, I'm usually dressed in pink and black or pink and gold, white, and whatever it is, but I'm going to be in my brand colors when I'm out and about. And also when you go to different platforms, and you're going to see those colors throughout. When I first started, Teresa, I was tore for the floor. I looked like a craft project. One thing I didn't have consistent fonts. I didn't have consistent color. Girl, it was a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still working on it. But I'm more cohesive now than I was in the past. And matter of fact, we're redoing my logo. I'm so excited about my new logo. I can't wait to put it out there. But that's going to be in about another month or so while we really do some tweaks. Because I've been more intentional about logos, because of what is going to show up like on products and services. So I wanted to do that. How important has brand consistency been for you as you develop your own brand?
Well, not just with the colors and whatnot, but you said something before this that's absolutely imperative with your brand. You said, Teresa works on children's books. I work on business books.
Mm-hmm.
There's no crossing the line. I mean, I do other things as well. Compilation books are one of the things that I do, and I give all my authors who book with me for any kind of book an opportunity to be in the compilation book as part of what I provide for them.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that you have to, as you said, stay in your lane, do what you love to do, and you do it well, and stick with that. So if you give somebody who likes coffee a cup of tea, they're eventually going to go back to coffee. You can't, maybe you might step out of the box a little bit, but you're going to go back to coffee. So the thing is that find what works for you and provide that to your customers, and make it something that you enjoy. Don't be struggling to do what you do every day just because you said you were going to do it. Get somebody to collaborate with. Brenda and I have a great collaboration.
Yes, we do.
We do. And what does Faith say? Collaboration is the new currency.
And it truly is, because that's one thing, and we do it well.
Yeah.
Here's our final question. This is to engage with your audience. I cannot tell you how important it is to engage your audience. And one of the speakers yesterday in my mastermind that I'm a part of talked about the 4 circles: your family, the business partner and business people, your friends, and then your virtual audience, and how neither one should be neglected. And I never thought about it that way, but it made perfect sense to me. And that's when I had an aha moment, Teresa, when I realized I was neglecting part of my audience because I felt like that really wasn't where I belong. But as soon as he said that, do you know, that same day, someone came from one of the platforms that I thought I really don't have a big following there, but that one person from there that saw me was very financially rewarding for me. So I'm rethinking how I show up on all my platforms. And I'm making sure that I now interact with people when they make a comment, that I'm commenting back, that I'm taking the time to really engage with the audience that's engaging with me. How have you managed engaging with your audience?
So here's I am the front man, if you will, the front woman for the company. However, I have a team of people that are behind me and doing the job for me and with me for the customer.
Okay.
One of the things that people make mistakes about is that they try and do it all themselves. And when you try and do it all yourself, you take away from how you present yourself. It's number one, trying to do it all. Something that you don't like to do stresses you out. When you bring stress to a conversation, it's visible. Even if somebody has not met you before, when you bring stress to a conversation, it's absolutely visible, and it's not attractive. So
it's not attractive.
People will go somewhere else to work with somebody who's not stressed and is doing what they love. There's the same, do what you love and the money will follow. But yes, you're going to find your people in and whatever platforms are in alignment with your business. And if there's something that you need to do and engage someone else or a program of some sort in order to be able to do the things that make it run in the background, that's an investment in your business. That's an investment in your business, and it's a load off your mind, because if I don't have to be, I have an assistant who does a lot of the things that I just, number one, don't know how to do, don't care to learn how to do them, and she does them very well. So, it's again the collaboration thing. She gets what she needs to get out of it. I need what I get to get out of it, and everybody's happy.
I will tell you, one of the hardest things that I had to get a handle of, and I'm still working on today, is the social media interaction, because I went from having one or two people talking to me or engaging with me in a month to like 1,000 people a day.
Yeah.
And that was really, really overwhelming. And I just, there's not enough hours in the day to answer all of that. But I'm doing better at setting aside time, like first thing in the morning, to just go through, answer, at least put a heart or do something. And when the people make big comments and make it a point to do it, we are still, I don't like the chat bots. I think that's so impersonal. So I'm still working through that. But it may be a couple of days before I get to respond. Right now, in one of my 6 emails, I have 40,000 emails in there. It's like, it's not happening. I had to go back and figure out which was junk, which was real, what was going on. But I now have a strategy, a structure, and a system to manage my emails. And for anybody else who just heard the 40,000, I'm not joking. It's really there.
Yeah.
But my strategy for that particular account, because there's some really important things on there, is we've been going through so many, couple thousand a day to get it down. And then before we knew it, it was right back up there. So we are unsubscribing, we're archiving, we're doing some things. And I literally had to create some new email accounts just to be able to start over and get a handle on it. And then we archived a lot of the other ones so that we could go back and get them as we go. So we're getting them. I literally just answered some emails from November 2023.
Wow.
That's how many we had. But what was interesting to me was that the people were still excited that I answered them. I apologized for the delay. I explained what was going on. And I did not have one negative response. I consider that a blessing.
A blessing, absolutely. I just want to reiterate 3 things that you said. Letter S: systems.
It's strategy,
system,
structures, and system in that order. Because you have to have a strategy for what you're going to do. And then once you have your strategy, you need to put a structure in place. And then you need to have systems that allow you to rinse and repeat.
Right. And if all of that. And if you can't do it all by yourself, here's another S: get some support.
There you go. I like that. I'll add that bonus because I call it the triple S effect, but I will add that bonus as get some support. And here's the thing I want everybody to know about branding. Remember, branding is not a one-time task, but it's a continuous journey. In order to be a success, you got to continue to move forward and adjust your branding as needed. If your logo no longer works for you, get a new one, make a new one. Create one that represents your brand. And Teresa, I want people to know that invest in yourself today. And one of the things I talk about all the time is I have a portal called the Soulutionist portal. It is housed inside Convene Communities. It's where you'll gain confidence to do business your way, learn to do what you love, learn the business of doing business. I'm fanatical about that. You get access to Convene Communities, access to discussion boards and forums that allow you to ask questions anonymously or in your own name. You'll get to make meaningful connections, grow your business, make passive income, collaborate for success, build your influence, and work on your mindset development. All of that's available. And that's all a part of me building my brand, Teresa, letting people know what's available. I am so excited because I set it up in a 2-part system, which I'm going to show on this slide. If you need help with your defense of your business, I say defense because how are you showing up? If you were accused of having a business, would you be found guilty? Some of you would not. So if that is you, then join my life community where we leverage impact for entrepreneurs. That is a free community. You can come in and kind of get an idea of what I do. The scan in the middle allows you to join life. And inside of the life community is where I house my paid community, the Soulutionist portal, which is only $97 a month, and there are no contracts.
Mhm.
There's no contracts, Teresa, because I'm so confident in my ability to help entrepreneurs close the gap between the desires and reality. I want people to be there and want to be there. You can't even pay in advance. You got to go month to month. And only the first 150 people that join will get that opportunity. Everybody else is going to be 450 a month. But why I did that is because I really believe there's 150 people that I'm called to support for them to
Mhm.
grow their business, to go from just being popular, but to be popular and paid.
There you go.
Many people don't know how to do their branding. They're not clear on how to do a SWOT analysis, the business model canvas, uh, what do you, business plans. They don't know how to research for capital. Right now, a lot of them don't even know how to do their websites or how to do funnels or any of that stuff. All of
Mhm.
that is taught inside the portal. We have assessments, we have coaches, and we're ready to support the people that are ready to get supported. Going to the Build Your Brand Live conference was just the kick in the behind I needed to make me be clear on what it is, what my messaging should be, how I should show up in these entrepreneurial streets, and to know that I don't have to do it alone.
Mhm.
And that's part of what the Solutionist portal is all about. Why attending conferences like that can often give you a great spark, but if you don't act on the things that you learn from conferences like Build Your Brand, you could be dead in the water once again. And I
Mm.
want to help people get out of that. Teresa, any final thoughts before we wrap up here today?
I don't think so. You've covered so much. The one thing that I think I do want to say, and it goes in direct correlation to what you just said, is, as you go down the road to success, the road of success, you're going to come to some curves in the road. You're going to come to some crossroads, and you're going to have to make some decisions, and you may have to make some changes based on what information comes to you when you get to that part of the journey. And
Mm-hmm.
so be open to all of the things that Brenda just talked about. Her Solutionist portal has a lot of information in there that can help the newcomer to the entrepreneurial world and those that have been in there for a long time and need to get a refresh or push a restart button, because times change, technology changes. People will be looking for something on maybe a different level than what you were providing beforehand. So when you come to that crossroad, be open to maybe making a left turn, maybe making a right turn, maybe going a little bit slower as you go straight down the road so that you can get what you need to get for the time that you're in at that moment. So, you know, just don't go through life with blinders on. Be open to
Definitely
what's
not.
around the outside of you, and be able to be flexible to change, because it's in the change. One thing is for sure, everything changes. So, and when it does, be prepared to be able to ride the wave of whatever that change is.
I'm so excited you said that. I see that we have one of the Build Your Brand Live participants in the waiting room. I'm going to bring her on so she can introduce herself and tell us where she's from and give us her insight on the conference before we close out. I'm excited that we do have her. Hold on, we're going to add her to the stage. Hello.
Hi, Brenda. How are you? Thank you.
I'm
I
fine.
wasn't sure I would be able to join in, but thank you anyway.
I'm glad that you showed up because at least we have one other person besides me. This is Teresa Velarde, my good
Hi,
friend, fellow
Teresa.
podcaster, and publisher. Tell us who you are, where you hail from first. Tell us that first.
Well, I'm Zeldy Vilbis. I'm coming from Pennsylvania, so that's where I reside, but I'm a Filipino American.
Mm-hmm.
And I founded and now the CEO of the company I built, which is Narva Coaching, which is helping individuals overwhelmed with changes, realign with their desires, and inspire them to take action for what they want.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for the intro.
In
Where in
here.
Pennsylvania are you? I'm in Pennsylvania too.
Oh, I'm in Ambler,
I know where that
Montgomery
is.
County. Where are
Okay.
you from, Teresa?
I'm in Lackawanna County, north by Scranton.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
familiar with that. Thank you,
Mhm.
fellow Pennsylvanian.
Zell, tell us, you attended the conference and you were there. What were your impressions of the conference?
I think the conference was really full of energy. It is actually, it can be very daunting for many to be seeing so many people. But what it presented to everyone is the opportunity to really align with people that they like. Not everyone is aligned with what you want, but it gave you quite a lot of, it's a buffet of people to network, which you can see and feel that they are on the same road with you, and you go home from that event feeling like I made new friends, I made aligned connections, which is very important, and I've learned many things. The speakers that we have heard were all powerful, right? I keep some of them still after that event. And meeting you, Brenda, meeting marvelous and amazing people like you was such a good experience. And I came back to my house feeling energized. So it
Tell
was
me,
a wake-up call.
that's good. What was your greatest takeaway from the Build Your Brand Live conference?
That I wasn't really the type of person who would be like networking and bringing myself out there. I was kind of shy, right? I'm kind of have an introversion in me. My biggest takeaway when I challenged myself to meet more people, that I just came out of the discomfort, and now I feel more comfortable. So I feel like that started my energy to meet more people in any event, be out there, because what if you don't take a risk, you will never have that. I wouldn't have that memories or experience and new friends. So that's my biggest takeaway.
Did you get an opportunity to use any of the content creation stations while you were there?
Yes,
And
yes.
how did you
I have
enjoy
it
those?
all over. I found it. I'm there every morning.
Okay.
And a friend of mine that I met, we did like a quick interview.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a collaboration space, I would say.
Yes, it was.
Do I like it? Do I want to go live right there and then? I don't think so, but everyone was doing it. It was like a
Right.
training ground. So it's just not a nice place to take your selfies or have a picture. It was a place where you are presented in a stage where you said, are you going to do it or not? So that's how I
Absolutely.
see that. It's a laboratory, if I may call it.
I think so too. I'm so glad you popped in to tell us about how do people get in touch with you so they can see about your coaching.
Oh, thank you. So aside from my Instagram, it's at Zeldivilbist, all one word. I also
Okay.
have my website, which is naracoaching.com. So Nara Coaching, all this name that I posted here
Okay.
.com.
I'm
Yeah.
going to put that in the thing, naracoaching.com.
Thank you.
If you have one thought you'd like to give people that are working to build their brand, what would it be?
Be like from my biggest takeaway, learn how to be uncomfortable. Right, I came here in the States 9 years ago when I married the love of my life unexpectedly. Moved to Pennsylvania without any friends. 2 years ago, I said I have no network, I have no friends. Then I joined the mastermind for the very reason, aside from learning how to be seen, was to meet aligned people, and I did. So I would say that if I didn't try to push myself and I would just be at home, I'm fine. I wouldn't be where I am. And I am just so glad if I connect the dots from the past months I've been with the mastermind and then attended the BYBL, that I'm so grateful that this opportunity I just grabbed, and that's what I can say to everyone. Just grab, have fun. That's the most important thing. Don't overanalyze. Have fun. I came there. I said, I'm going to have fun. I didn't think about what I'm going to do. I just did it. So that's my
Oh,
biggest
that is so cool.
sharing.
I want to say thank you for taking the time because I know you were with clients,
Yes.
and I'm glad we hadn't closed out before you got here, so you got the
Thank
opportunity
you.
to say, I enjoyed meeting you, and I'm looking forward to you and I getting to collaborate and connect also,
Yes.
because that's one of the greatest parts about the mastermind that we're part of and about the conference that Chris and Jen put on, the Build Your Brand Live, is that you make new connections, that you have the opportunity for collaboration, and we can learn and grow together.
Yes.
So
Thank
thank
you
you
so,
so much and
Brenda.
enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you, Teresa.
All
Good to
right.
meet you, Zal. Good to meet you.
Thank
All
you.
right. She is an absolute sweetheart, Teresa. I don't want to leave without showing you guys a snippet of my talk here. I have a little short clip that I'm going to show you guys before we go out. So here it is. I want you to believe in yourself enough to know that you are your greatest investment. You have to show up. I want you to show up for yourself. I want you to show up for your family. I want you to show up for all those people that are waiting for you to show up. Are you ready to show up? Yeah! That was just a brief little snippet. It's only 5 minutes, but I tell you, I had a blast. And I wanted to end with that because I am asking each and every one of you that hears this to remember to show up. Zale showed up today. She had a full day schedule and she made the effort to be here. This opportunity was given to lots of people, but it's the people that show up will move the needle and close the gap between their desires and their reality. Remember, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely and choose to show up. Be blessed. Bye, Teresa.